Imagine a world where everyone, regardless of their gender, has the same opportunities, rights, and responsibilities. How would that impact humanity? In this day and age, the question of gender equality is more relevant than ever. In a world where we are continually advancing in technology, science, and social structures, the concept of gender equality remains a hot topic. It's a concept that's deeply entwined in our societal fabric, impacting everything from our workplaces to our homes, our politics to our personal lives. But how does this idea of equal rights and opportunities for all, regardless of gender, affect us as a collective? Could it be possible that this strive for balance is in fact causing us to falter? Could it be that our pursuit of equality is leading us down a path of failure? These are questions we must ponder. Today, we delve into the debate on whether humanity is failing because of gender equality. Some argue that gender equality is causing humanity to fail, but why? Let's delve into the heart of this argument. There is a belief held by some that gender equality disrupts traditional societal structures. For centuries, societies around the world have been built on patriarchal systems. Men have generally been the primary breadwinners, while women have traditionally been caretakers, responsible for nurturing the family and managing the home. This division of labor has stood the test of time, shaping our societal norms and expectations. The push for gender equality, however, threatens to dismantle these long-standing structures, leaving some to question what will replace them. This leads us to the economic impacts. As more women enter the workforce, there's an increased demand for jobs. This can lead to heightened competition and potentially fewer opportunities for men. This argument is often bolstered by the notion that the influx of women in the job market could lead to wage deflation, affecting the overall economic stability. Another concern is the risk of reverse discrimination. Some argue that in our quest for gender equality, we may inadvertently create an environment where men are discriminated against. They fear that affirmative action policies and quotas could lead to less qualified women being chosen over more qualified men, simply to meet diversity targets. Lastly, there's the concern about the loss of femininity and masculinity. The push for gender equality, some argue, blurs the lines between genders, leading to a loss of distinct roles and identities. They worry that this could lead to confusion and a loss of individuality. However, it's important to note that these are arguments against gender equality, not proven facts. They are perspectives, interpretations of potential outcomes based on certain beliefs and assumptions. They reflect fears and uncertainties about change, rather than concrete evidence of the negative impact of gender equality. Indeed, these concerns are valid and worth considering, but as we move forward in our discussion, let's also consider the benefits of gender equality and weigh these arguments against the potential positive impacts. On the other hand, many passionately advocate for gender equality. Here's why. Gender equality is more than just a moral imperative. It's a catalyst for social progress and economic growth, fostering an environment where everyone has the opportunity to thrive. When we break down the barriers that prevent half of the world's population from realizing their full potential, we unlock a treasure trove of untapped potential. Let's start with social progress. With gender equality, we can challenge traditional gender roles that have kept both men and women in rigid boxes for centuries. Women can become engineers, scientists, or leaders, just as men can become nurses, teachers, or stay-at-home fathers. In doing so, we create a society that values individuals for their skills and talents, rather than their gender. Moving on to economic growth, it's simple mathematics. When you double the workforce, you double the potential for growth. Studies have shown that if women participated in the economy identically to men, global GDP could increase by up to $28 trillion by 2030. That's a staggering amount of wealth that could be used to combat poverty, fund education, and invest in sustainable technologies. Lastly, let's talk about health and well-being. When women have equal access to education and healthcare, they can make informed decisions about their bodies and their lives. They can plan their families, pursue their careers, and contribute to their communities. This not only improves their own lives, but also those of their children, creating a ripple effect that benefits the entire society. Moreover, gender equality also means that men are not confined to the traditional roles of being the breadwinner or suppressing their emotions. It allows them to express their feelings openly and share the responsibilities at home, leading to improved mental health and well-being. In conclusion, gender equality offers a pathway to a more progressive, prosperous and healthy society. It's not just about fairness, it's about creating a world where everyone can contribute their talents and live their best lives. Clearly, the potential benefits of gender equality cannot be ignored. With such compelling arguments on both sides, where does that leave us? The answer isn't as simple as we might wish. Gender equality, like many social issues, is complex and multifaceted. It's a delicate balance that requires careful thought and examination. On one side of the coin, we have the argument that gender equality poses a threat to societal norms and values. Some believe that it disrupts the traditional roles and expectations that have shaped our societies for centuries. These individuals worry about the erosion of the family unit, the potential for increased conflict, and the loss of certain cherished cultural practices. However, it's crucial to remember that these concerns often stem from a fear of change rather than a genuine evaluation of the potential consequences. Change is always challenging, and it's natural to fear the unknown. But that doesn't mean we should resist progress. After all, societal norms and values have evolved throughout history, often for the better. On the flip side, we have the argument for gender equality. This perspective asserts that gender equality is not just a moral imperative, but also a catalyst for social, economic and political growth. Supporters of gender equality argue that when both genders have equal opportunities to contribute to society, everyone benefits. They point to increased productivity, improved health outcomes, and enhanced social cohesion as potential benefits. Yet this viewpoint also has its limitations. While it's true that equal opportunities can lead to positive outcomes, it's also essential to acknowledge that equality doesn't necessarily mean sameness. Men and women are different in many ways, and these differences should be celebrated, not suppressed. There is a risk that, in our pursuit of equality, we may inadvertently create a society that doesn't value diversity and individuality. So, where does this leave us? It seems we are left with a paradox. Gender equality has the potential to both disrupt societal norms and enrich our societies. It can lead to conflict, but it can also foster social cohesion. It's a double-edged sword, and it's up to us to wield it wisely. We must strive for a society where everyone, regardless of their gender, has the same opportunities to thrive. But we must also respect and celebrate our differences. We need to find a balance between maintaining cultural traditions and embracing progress. It's a tightrope walk, and it won't be easy. But if we approach it with an open mind and a willingness to listen to all perspectives, we can find a way forward. Ultimately, the question of whether gender equality is causing humanity to fail is complex and multifaceted. It's not a question with a clear-cut answer, but rather a conversation that we need to keep having. As we navigate this challenging terrain, let's remember to listen, learn, and strive for understanding. Only through dialogue and critical thinking can we hope to find a path that respects and uplifts all members of our society. As we reflect on these arguments, what should our next steps be? A question that invites introspection and instigates dialogue. It's not about picking a side and ardently defending it, but rather about fostering an environment where all perspectives on gender equality can be heard, understood, and respected. Imagine a world where discussions on gender equality are not about winning or losing, but about learning and growing. A world where every voice, regardless of gender, is valued and appreciated. A world where equality is not seen as a threat, but as an opportunity for societal evolution. The debate surrounding gender equality is a complex one with many facets to consider. It's not black and white, right or wrong, but a myriad of grays. We must approach this conversation with open minds, ready to hear different perspectives and learn from each other. The journey towards understanding is not always an easy one, but it's a necessary one. There's a quote by Nelson Mandela that beautifully encapsulates this idea. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Let's educate ourselves about gender equality. Let's strive to understand the intricacies of this issue. Let's learn from history, from science, from sociology, and from each other. Let's challenge our own biases, question our preconceived notions, and be willing to change our minds. Let's foster a culture of curiosity, where asking questions is encouraged and ignorance is not ridiculed, but addressed with compassion and understanding. Remember, The goal is not to pit one gender against another. It's about recognizing and appreciating our differences and leveraging them to create a harmonious and equitable society. It's about acknowledging the unique struggles that each gender faces and working together to overcome them. So let's continue this conversation. Let's continue to question, to learn, and to grow. Let's engage in thoughtful action, not just for ourselves, but for future generations. In the end, it's not about who's right or wrong. It's about working together to create a better future for all.